All right, welcome back to another Coffee Talk. And if you are watching this right now live, well, I'm here to tell you that I am not actually live. I'm going to be recording this so I can play it for you because I'm not going to be available to do this time slot. So I'm going to record this for you, and I'm going to record the podcast episode. So with that all being said, I'm going to kick this thing off relatively soon because why not just go ahead and start. So this way here, you guys can listen in on what we're going to talk about here today, which is going to be about this accidental third case study site. I'm going to give you an update on it, how we're about to hit 8,000. Actually, we did hit 8,000 page views in 30 days. And I'm going to give you guys the lowdown on that and everything that we've done since we realized that we had a site that was actually starting to get some traffic, and then we started to build on it. So with that all being said, now that you know that this is our Coffee Talk session, but I am not in fact here live, I am going to go ahead and do as we normally do. I'm going to record this so this way here I can post this on the podcast. All right, guys, so here we go. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, or if you're watching this on the Facebook page, welcome to another Coffee Talk. Today, I am fired up because I am going to be sharing with you our accidental third case study site, and I'm going to give you an update because we are crossing 8,000 page views in 30 days on a site that we kind of forgot that we started, and why I do believe that it is doing really well and growing month over month, over 30% growth. So really excited to see where this goes over the next few months. But I did want to give you guys the update, the play-by-play, and kind of just give you the backstory on it. Also, to let you know that depending on what you are working on, you have to give it some time. You have to keep putting out content, and you have to stick to it. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's like what makes this whole thing work is, I mean, besides finding a good niche, which we've went over that numerous times now on the podcast and on the Coffee Talks and in all my trainings. But it is really important that we do that. But once you do go ahead and figure out what that niche is and you start to get a little bit of traction, that's when you double down. But here's the deal. Some people will start these and then walk away. And I actually had a lady do this. I had another guy do it as well, and came back to it and said, oh my gosh, I'm starting to get some traffic. I actually let it go. I was going to give up on it. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing that there's traffic. So if you have one of those sites, if you have a project that you started working on, you were all gung-ho in the beginning, maybe for the first 3 months, you put out like 15 pieces of content and you said, that's it. I'm done. This thing ain't working. I'm not getting any traffic, which is way too early, by the way. You should give it some more time. But if that is you, I encourage you to go into your Google Analytics and see if you're getting any traffic, because you might be. You might start getting indexed, or you might have been getting indexed all along and you didn't know it. So here's a little nudge. Go check that out if you've been kind of dabbling and then you kind of backed off for a while. Because you might be sitting on a site that now is seasoned. And I did another episode where I talked about this. Like, we have a lot of ideas, right? As entrepreneurs, like, we have a lot of ideas, especially now that we're focusing on like building niche properties and stuff. I mean, I have a new niche property idea, seems like every week, but probably not that much, but it's darn close to that. And so instead of me being able to do that or wanting to do that, because I don't want to have 100 different projects going on, what I could do, and which this is what I will be doing anytime I have something that I feel really good about, is I'm going to buy a domain name. I'm going to put content on that site, maybe 10 articles, and then I'm going to let it sit. I'm just going to shelf it. So this way here, I've kind of bookmarked it, if you will, where I'm like, okay, there it is. I got a domain name, some hosting. It's not that expensive. I put 10 pieces of content on it. I'm going to let that thing sit. And I did an episode where I talked about this, and it's actually a follow-up to this here that I'm going to share with you here today, because I think at that time it was up to about maybe 4,000. Now we've doubled that traffic, and it seems like it's going to double again relatively soon. So let me give you the backstory on it. This site we created inside of our Brand Creators Academy as one of our tutorials. So I said to Chris Schaefer, I said, we gotta come up with a site that we can show from scratch, bare bones, nothing. how we buy the domain name, how we set up hosting, how we put on a WordPress theme, how we add content, what plugins are we using, like all that stuff. So we ended up using this site. So if you're in Brand Creators Academy, you're probably going to go back to one of those lessons and you're going to look for it. It's right there. You can see it. And so we did that, right? And we created the video tutorials. So we weren't planning on really building this thing out. I mean, we knew maybe one day we would, but we're like, right now we don't have time for it, but we got to set this thing up so we can show how to do it. So that's what we did. Well, then one day, about 15 months later, I decided to look at the analytics. I don't know, I was kind of going through my old stuff and I go, you know what? I'm going to look at that site and see what it's doing. And I was pleasantly surprised. It did like 1,478 page views. I actually pulled up the number before I got on here. And that was 15 months after that we started it. We started it in April 2020. And we had 13 articles posted and then we stopped. And then 15 months later, I looked at it and we were at 1,478 page views. All right. Just from 13 pieces of content, which was great. So then once I noticed this, I said, you know what? I think we got the bandwidth to do this other site. I think we should. I want to build another niche property. And this will be one of my primary ones that I'm focusing on now. Right. So right now I've got, if we count, four sites that I'm focusing on 100%, like really, really focusing on. And one of those I'm really focusing on, like double down, like triple down on that one. Just because I see a lot of growth there and I want to focus on that one site for right now. I may back off, once we do this, we're doing a 90-day content blitz where we're going to do over 100 pieces of content. So maybe after that, I'll back off of that one and then focus on another one. But let's move on here. I'm getting a little off track here because I've got, my wheels turning on these other properties that I'm building. But I have a couple other ones that are kind of, in that seasoning phase, right? There's one of them that's totally just sitting there getting seasoned. I'm not adding any more content. There's about 50 articles on it. I'm just going to let that thing season and we'll see what happens in a year. And I am looking in Ahrefs and I can see that it is getting indexed. It is getting picked up for some new keywords, but very slowly, and that's fine. All right. So what we decided to do is we decided to go aggressive with a lot of content. And I say a lot of content right now, and I'd say if you averaged it out, because we're at about 160 articles, so minus off what we had, about 150 articles we've added, right? And right now I'm adding anywhere between 3 and 4 new pieces of content, but I was doing 5 to 6. And the reason why I'm backing off just a little bit is because I'm taking some of that bandwidth and I'm putting it on the one that I'm doing a 90-day content blitz. So I'm not like totally abandoning it, which I don't recommend. I think that even if you back off of a site, you should at least put 1 piece of content a week minimum. But that one there is getting between, I would say 4 and 5 right now, sometimes 3, but a lot of times it's 4 or 5. And over that time period, those 6 months was about 5 to 6. So about 150 pieces of content that we've added. Okay. Well, since we've done that, okay, our traffic now is starting to we're really starting to hit our stride. 8,097 page views to be exact from the time that I'm doing this episode here. And that's in the last 30 days. All right. We're on track to hit 12,000 page views. And the minute that I hit 10,000, we're going to turn on Ezoic. I'm also going to reach out to Mediavine because I was told that if you have other sites on Mediavine, they will accept less page views for other sites that you have under your portfolio. So we'll see. But if not, I am definitely going to turn on Ezoic. And if Ezoic pays what I think they will pay, anywhere from $20 to $25 on the RPM, that's how much you get paid per 1,000, we could be potentially sitting on $200 to $300 per month just with this site right now. Now, doesn't seem like a lot, but that's where it starts. And that's where then we would grow. We'd go to 500 and we go to 1,000 and hopefully build from there. And we've struck a couple of keyword gold, keyword veins, the keyword gold mine, as I call it. You're constantly putting out different pieces of content. That's what we've done here. And we've taken these strategies that I taught actually in my keyword gold mine training, which if you haven't checked that out, you might want to. You can go to brandcreators.com/gold and you'll get details there. It's a very inexpensive training, but those are the strategies that I'm following for this site after we've been testing this out now for about 1.5 years. And it's really working. And I'm starting to see that we're finding some keyword veins here inside of this niche. And I really believe that we're going to be able to take this traffic and really skyrocket it. So excited about that. So what type of content is on this site? Basically questions. Okay. Basically questions. That's it. All right. And it's questions around the niche. It's questions around certain areas for this, different types of this, in this niche. Again, without giving it away, I can't really say, but we are using primarily question-based content. Now there's probably around 15, maybe 20% product. And that was just because in the beginning, when we were doing that content push, we did do a bunch of product-based posts, but we've since pulled back on that strategy. We want to really just go after the informational stuff, the question type stuff, can, when, what, when, those types of things. All right. So that's what we're doing for content right now. Now, the other thing is that I should bring up here, this has also been a little bit of a test that we've been running in the background with the niche website builders guys, Adam, who I just had on the podcast, which actually I recorded it. I don't know if it's aired yet. I don't think it's aired yet. It will soon air, which you're going to want to listen to that one. But we used one of their services and we did it on this site only because we didn't want to risk any of the other sites. Because whenever you hear of backlinking, you think, oh, black hat, spammy, people are buying links. That's not what this is. We did a little 3-month backlinking campaign strategy. Okay. Now this is something you could do totally on your own, or you can hire a company like the niche website builders, which I recommend if you are going to do it, go through them. And it is an investment. But again, we're thinking about building our property. We want to maybe go a little bit faster. This is how you could potentially do this. Okay. So what we do, or what we did, was we go after a pillar piece of content, a piece of content that has been known to be shared. So what they do is they go out and they find other content in our site or in our niche. And what they do is they find different pieces of content that is being linked to, in a nutshell. And then what they do is they find the sites that are linking to it. So then what they'll do is they'll create our piece of content, or a writer can do this, or you can do this. You write, and they call it a skyscraper is what they call it. You create a very good piece of content that is better than the one that these people are linking to, these sites are linking to. So you find the content that all these sites are linking to, because obviously they want to, because it's a good resource. You come in, you create a better resource, and then you reach out to everyone that's linking to it and say, hey, I've got a resource. I know you linked to this other one, but I've got a better resource. It's updated, whatever. You should link to it. And so there's a lot of outreach. Okay. So all we're doing is we're creating a very good piece of content, actually not even very good, a great piece of content that could stand on its own, that's known to attract links. And then we're doing manual outreach to sites that are already linking to content that's like this. And then we just offer them this content and say, hey, if you would like to link to it, that'd be great. And then they may or they may not. Takes a lot of outreach. That's why hiring a company, they do it all for you. All right. So we've done this for 3 months. Now what I'm doing is I'm pausing, I'm kind of pulling back on it, and I'm going to let the dust settle and see where we're at. Okay. And what this will do is this will take your domain authority and increase it. Okay. Because all of these other sites now that are linking to it have a good domain authority themselves, anywhere from a 20 to a 60. I think we have one as high as a 69. So anytime that you're getting these links, it's going to eventually, not overnight, eventually increase your domain authority, which will then also take all of your existing content and potentially push that up in the rankings. That's how that works. All right. So again, just to be totally transparent, we did run that campaign on this site as a test. All right. So this site was on a brand new domain, not an expired domain. It was seasoned, meaning it was built with 10 articles and it sat there for 15 months. And then we started aggressively posting content on it. And we had a link building campaign that was done over 3 months. Okay. Now also understand it's like content. Whenever you have a backlink that's brought to your site or that's pointing to your site, it doesn't automatically give you that boost. It could take 3 months, 6 months, a year before it starts to get recognized by Google that you have these extra external links pointing to your website. So just keep that in mind if you are thinking about going down that road. All right. So again, I just wanted to give you the play-by-play of what this site has into it, what we've done with it. Yes, we are investing money in this. Guys, I told you this before. Like, I look at this as buying real estate, investing in real estate. I was looking at purchasing another Airbnb here recently, and I decided not to because the market is so crazy right now. But when I was going to do that, it was like I was going to invest 20% into a piece of property and then have to reno it and all of that stuff. And you're talking $100,000. So instead of doing something like that, or for anyone that's thinking about doing this, when you have a digital piece of real estate or a digital real estate, you can spend $5,000 maybe, and you're going to have content created now, or maybe you're going to run a backlinking campaign, or maybe you're going to buy an expired domain. These are the things that I'm thinking of now as I'm building these, is like, okay, we can do this bare bones. Like, we've done 2 sites right now. Well, actually 3 sites that were done it was on a fresh domain. Okay. And those had no backlinking at all. Okay. 0. All right. Still none. Okay. They have backlink because the content's attracting backlinks, which will naturally happen. That's why we always say create content that is good and that people want to link over to. But those 3 sites were on fresh domains. Okay. And now there's another one that we built. That's a case study that's on an expired domain, which is starting to show signs. I think we had over 1,000 page views last month from that so far, which is great. It's moving up. And then this other one here was on a fresh domain, but we let it get seasoned for 15 months. And we did a little bit of a backlinking campaign to test out this backlinking strategy. All right. So that's where we're at with this one. Again, an accident that happened, it was an accidental kind of thing that we decided to kind of move into after we found out that we actually did it, or remembered that we did it. And here we are, after the fact, where we have a site now that is showing really signs of growth, potentially going to be crossing that 10,000 page views here very, very soon, turning on an ad network and getting some money coming in the door now from that rental property. All right. So guys, that is what I wanted to share with you here today. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, Scott, this is great, I don't even know where to start, I want to get started, I would definitely recommend you check out our niche properties class. All right. And to do that, if you head on over to buildnicheproperties.com. Again, that's buildnicheproperties.com. You can get all the details over there. This way here, you can go through our training. It's a full class, step-by-step, all the way from validating and finding your niche to then building it out and then adding content, optimizing it, doing all of that stuff so you can start to rank and start to get traffic coming into your niche property so you can eventually turn on monetization and start collecting the rent, as we say. So if you're interested, head on over to buildnicheproperties.com. Again, that's buildnicheproperties.com, and you can get all the details over there. All right, guys, so that's it. That's going to wrap it up. As always, take care, take action, have an awesome, amazing day, and I'll see you right back here on the next episode. Now, go